ChatGerry, beyond CVD, CKD, and stroke, the hidden message behind my health journey. Number 1654, May 24, 2026. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: Life Reflection. Preface for readers: eat more protein and vegetables. Eat less red meat and processed food. Reduce portions if overweight. Eating a little less will not hurt you. Overeating for yours will. Exercise daily. Walk at least 7,000 to 8,000 steps. Drink 85 to 100 ounces to 0.5 to 3.0 liters of water daily. Sleep 6 to 7 hours each night. Manage stress. Avoid draining people and unnecessary conflicts. Put your health first. Wealth, fame, and power mean little without health and life. My paper. On the surface, my preview paper No.1653 written on my long flight from Honolulu to New York City appears to be a quantitative comparison of 3 mortality diseases: CVD, CKD, and stroke using VMT energy analysis and TSI concepts. But underneath the scientific methodologies and detailed numbers, that paper is really talking about my personal responsibility, delayed consequences, and the power of lifestyle change. The hidden storyline is this: I became seriously ill. I suffered 5 heart attacks, kidney failure, severe diabetes complications, and eventually a stroke about 1 year ago. Any one of these events could have taken my life, but I refused to surrender. I survived. Through study, discipline, observation, and daily lifestyle management, I dramatically improved my cardiovascular and kidney health. The stroke was not proof that lifestyle failed, it was the delayed consequence of damage accumulated decades earlier. I am paying today for mistakes I made 20 to 36 years ago. That is very different from the common narrative that health comes primarily for a doctor, hospital, or prescription. My paper repeatedly points to another conclusion: I am the person with the greatest responsibility for and influence over my health. That does not mean doctors, hospitals, or medications have no value. They can be life-saving and important. But my personal experience taught me that they cannot replace my daily behavior. A capable physician may provide advice, a good hospital may treat an emergency, and an effective medication may help control a condition, but none of them can walk my daily steps, choose my healthy meals, reduce my food portions, manage my stress, or maintain my discipline year after year. The deeper lesson behind my preface for readers is: disease often develops slowly through thousands of daily decisions. Health is also rebuilt through thousands of daily decisions. My stroke experience adds another lesson: the body remembers. Damage accumulated over decades may not disappear immediately, even after behavior improves. That is why I describe my stroke as paying an old debt rather than creating a new one. What I find interesting is that my new preface for readers and epilogue for readers make this hidden message explicit. Previously, a reader had to read many pages and connect many pieces of evidence to discover what I was really saying. Now the preface for readers tells my readers the practical lessons immediately at the beginning. Eat wisely and less, exercise daily, hydrate, sleep sufficiently and well, manage stress, put health first. And the epilogue for readers tells them why I spent 16.5 years studying these issues: to protect my own health and life, and to help protect yours as well. So, in a sense, my previous paper No.1653 is not merely a paper about CVD, CKD, and stroke. It is also a case study showing that a person can profoundly change the trajectory of life through sustained action, while acknowledging that the consequences of early years do not always disappear immediately. This is why and how my heart disease and kidney disease have not recurred during the past 15 years. That is probably the most important message I want readers to take away from this paper. My conclusion: this article is not really about the 3 diseases themselves. It is about the lesson hidden behind them: personal responsibility, lifestyle discipline, delayed consequences, and the possibility of changing the direction of one's health trajectory. The title tells readers immediately that there is a deeper message beneath the medical analysis. I often approach questions like a scientist, engineer, and former CEO. My instinct is to identify the dominant variables and state them directly. I am less interested in diplomatic balancing and more interested in causal structure. From that perspective, when I ask, why does the United States have high rates of obesity, diabetes, CVD, CKD, and stroke? A direct answer might be, too many people eat too much food, too often, for too many years, while moving too little. That is not the entire story, but it is a major part of the story. Likewise, When I ask, what reversed my CVD and trajectory, my answer is, I reduced my weight, controlled my glucose, ate less, exercised more, monitored my health, and maintained discipline for 16.5 years. That is the primary explanation in my model of causality. I also recognize the difference between a dominant factor, the only factor. Scientists often seek dominant variables. Reality can still contain secondary variables. For example, I believe that overeating is a major driver of metabolic disease. Both scientific evidence and my personal history strongly support that conclusion. What I have learned over many years is that my preference is not merely for bluntness. It is for hierarchy. I repeatedly say things like, find the primary first. Do not let secondary factors confuse the picture. Newton used a few dominant variables. KSS keep it simple and straightforward. That is a mathematics, physics, and engineering way of thinking. When I look at my own life, I see a hierarchy: food quantity and quality, weight and glucose control, exercise, sleep and stress management, everything else. When I hear about classmates dying from a brain tumor or breast cancer, or a younger family friend becoming seriously ill, my mind naturally returns to the question, which factors are under our control before disaster occurs? That is exactly what my new preface for readers addresses. It is essentially a list of the dominant controllable variables as I see them after 16.5 years of studying my own health and disease trajectory. Whether every disease can be prevented that way is another question, but my central point is clear. Many people focus on treatment after disease appears. I focus on daily behaviors before disease appears. Eat less and move more is probably the most direct summary of my philosophy. Final note: at nearly 80 years of age, I sat on a 12-hour-long flight from Honolulu to New York City without internet access, medical journals, search engines, cloud servers, or AI assistants. Using only the knowledge accumulated in my brain from 16.5 years of medical study and more than 650 research papers written over the past 9.5 years since 2017. Together with my fingers typing on a small iPhone screen, I produced a 3,000-word medical research paper integrating CVD, CKD, stroke, diabetes, and more than 30 years of health experiences. This demonstrated that the knowledge was no longer stored primarily in books, computers, or databases. It had become an internalized system of understanding within my own brain. Epilogue for readers: greatness comes from pure and simple love and care. My years of health study and medical research have been driven by a desire to protect my own health and life, and to help protect yours as well. My responsibility ends with sharing honestly what I have learned. My reader's responsibility begins with deciding what to do about it. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share the summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.